I've been getting a lot of people asking me about Fat Joe and Bone, and that's just the weirdest. Like, that's the weirdest thing, I'm just like, I felt like this. Does this need to be covered? Like, I really didn't think this is a big deal. Like, what's going on? Everybody seen though, is Fat Joe lying? Because I think he lied. Angie Martinez looked at him like he was lying. I'm like, first off, um, I don't know what everybody's talking about. Fat Joe, and for anybody who didn't see it and didn't know what's going on, let me bring y'all up to speed on the situation. Fat Joe had did an interview with, I want to say, yeah, with Angie Martinez or something, right? And I guess they brought up the fact that he was responsible for Notorious Thugs happening and taking place. Like, he was the guy that made Bone Thugs go ahead and do the song with Biggie. And everybody was like, "Oh, Fat Joe lying again. Fat Joe's a liar." And I said, "Well, that's true. I don't see what my thing is." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I remember." I mean, we're going back to 1996, 7, 97. So for all of this to happen, this is like a whole different environment right now, a change. There was so many things happening after Tupac passed that a lot of people just didn't know. It was a lot of things rapidly like changing in the industry and people pivoting. The West Coast was hemorrhaging of not knowing what the new movement was going to be. They didn't know Tupac was the head of a lot of it. So when he went, it put a lot of things in limbo. At that time, Bone Thugs, a lot of people don't realize that, but Bone Thugs, they were 10 million, 30 million records sold. They outsold All Eyes on Me. They outsold everybody. East 1999, Eternal. Are you kidding? They were the biggest guys in the game and nobody respected that. You know what I'm saying? So it was a whole different vibe because in the Midwest, they were gods. Out here, they were gods. But in the East Coast, West Coast, they like, all right, they cool. I like Crossroads. I like, they people got their own thing that they deal with. So they wasn't even looked at as the upper echelon of what goes on and what doesn't. The problem insisted when they wanted to do the song with Pac, so when they did the song with Pac, because you got to remember, they had a problem with Pac. They didn't have a problem with him. Well, yeah, in the beginning, there was a problem. And Tupac wanted to squash that because he had Thug Life at the time. And then they was the, Bone Thugs. And he dissed them, thinking they was trying to rip off Thug Life. So when he felt like Easy E tried to, run a play and create Bone Thugs and Harmony, to be like Thug Life because he didn't sign with Ruthless Records and Thug Life. So there was some friction. He's like, look, you got these other fake thuggish, ruggish, whatever. So it was like dissing them to try to promote Thug Life before they project and stuff came out. So it was a whole different thing though. Like when they came to Cleveland, it was so much like they did a show and it was like finna go up because one, it was this animosity towards Death Row Records. And, this is the home of Bone. So, Pac cooled everything down with Dog Pound. And they had more beef with Dog Pound than with Pac. That was just a misunderstanding with Pac. So all of that got resolved. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was good. But when Bone go to New York and everything, that's Fat Joe territory. All right. I don't know what's the problem here. Why does people sit there and doubt it? What about the story that makes people doubt it for some reason? I know in interviews, like if Bone talk about it, they don't really go deep into it. But when Big performed and got awards and stuff, Fat Joe normally was with them. He was with Bone. He was with Puff. I know when they did Thug Love, that was Busy Bone and Tupac recorded the song. They weren't even in the studio. I don't think with Pac. Nobody else was like recording that song with Tupac. That Thug Love. So Busy Bone and Tupac did that song. And actually, that song was supposed to be on Busy Bone album. This would led to a whole bunch of other stuff. That's what I'm saying. This is like a tree and branches growing in different directions. This was it. Thug Love was supposed to be on Busy Bones album. But once they got that joint, with Tupac on it, they was, oh, we got to get that out. That's got to be on the Bone album. And they put all the other members on the song. So that's how it became, you know, a Bone record instead of a Busy Bone record with Tupac, which would have launched Busy Bone's whole campaign. See, with Easy E died, and he was the pretty much the driving force of Ruthless Records. They had to deal with Terminal and deal with Tamika Wright, who don't know any of the operations, who don't know anything about Bone really or the artist. They didn't know how to navigate that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just created more problems. But that's beside the point. That goes to a whole nother story. But it did, you end up seeing how that played out now. But as far as Fat Joe, shoot, Joe did them a solid because they were feeling like that. Like, man, because they were living on the West Coast. That's why on the interviews they always say, "Nah, man, we was neutral, man. We wasn't in the middle of that." Because that's the PC answer you're supposed to give. But in reality, they felt like we don't want no trouble, man. We live on the West Coast. Pac just died. We did a song with Pac. Everybody loved that we did a song with Pac. If we do a song with Big, we might have problems on our hands. You know what I'm saying? Out here on this West Coast, from some people that feel like we switched up on Pac to go work with Big and all of that. It might and and Puff really wanted it done, which meant Joe was gonna get taken care of. So Joe was out there making them calls, making it happen. And he talked to Bone and them first, like, man, y'all gotta do this record, Joe. Like, this is y'all career. This like, he ran that by them. Then he called Steve LaBelle and say, Steve, Puff wanted to holler at you, man, about you know, putting the Bone on the record with Biggie. Biggie want to do a record with you, so Puff gonna be calling you. So he's gonna be reaching out to you for that. So look out for that call. And Puff called and they worked it out immediately. And next thing you know, Bone and Biggie is Bone and Biggie. So Fat Joe is telling the truth there. I'm quite sure, like, would they have done the song without that? I still think they would have. If Puff would have reached out to Steve LaBelle and they went through Big, them went through Fat Joe. Cause he know them his guys. He was like, yo, can your boys, go ahead and do this? Cause they was on some unifying. It wasn't like they was out dissing the West Coast. They was out trying to make it happen. A lot of people have reservations about what they want to do. It's like that would be killing me, man, when they be like, yo, man, somebody got reservations about doing a song. They just don't want to say that they had reservations. They don't want to piss off nobody in the East Coast. They ain't trying to piss off nobody in the West. They just want all that to be over and like they neutral. They ain't got no problems with nobody. But that's the reason why it was like, yo, we just don't want no smoke. So we just trying to be cool right now. We don't need no smoke. Oh yeah, man. It was a lot of situations that happened during those times. But they felt indebted to Fat Joe, you know, because he did a lot for them. Plus, I think they was on the same label for a while, because they was on Relativity, and Relativity had Ruthless Records. He just did that deal when he came to New York. So, right, Steve LaBelle, all those guys, they all work together. So it was what it was. A moment in hip hop history. Yeah, you can call that. So my thing is, I don't get why people are saying he's lying. Who said he lied? That's what I want to know. Fat Joe's telling the truth there. I just don't know why that would be questioned. I haven't seen anything question it. But then again, I'm just answering y'all questions, but from what I know, that's that. That's been the facts. Like, it didn't really mean anything when it happened. But yeah, he did. I mean, he's telling the truth. So if that was your concerns have been answered. Now, don't forget to follow the Patreon because we got the uncut NWA video out. We have a lot of exclusive stuff out. So definitely check that out. And I'm going to get back with y'all. Peace.